Whenever possible, you should avoid entering a permit-required confined space altogether. But when that's not an option to do the work that's required, there are steps that can be taken to keep everyone safe. OSHA's confined space regulations have established a set of standard safe work practices to help employees protect themselves while working in these areas. It's your company's job to develop a permit-required confined space program, but it's your responsibility to read and comply with it. The program should control the access to confined spaces, describe the hazards that could be inside them, and detail rescue procedures that should be used if a problem occurs. First, your employer will identify all of the confined spaces within your facility, as well as the hazards someone could face by entering them. Then they'll share their findings with employees by posting warning signs near these areas. When a job needs to be done inside one of these spaces, everyone should follow the step-by-step process that is outlined in the company's permit-required confined space program to guard against accidents and injuries. The permit space program also ensures that all employees who might enter a confined space will receive the training they need to do it safely, by detailing what the training should involve, how frequently it should occur, and how the employer will verify that it took place. In addition to procedures and safety measures, your company's permit space program will discuss the 3 major roles that people involved in a confined space entry play: entrants, attendants, and entry supervisors. Together, they form the entry team and carry out the tasks listed on the entry permit. An entrant is an employee who is authorized by their employer to enter a permit-required confined space. An entry supervisor is typically a more experienced senior-level employee and is responsible for determining if acceptable entry conditions exist, authorizing the job, overseeing operations, and terminating the permit if necessary. An attendant is someone who is stationed outside of the confined space to monitor the entrants as they work. They must know the hazards that may be encountered during the entry, remain outside the permit space during operations unless they are relieved by another attendant, and order an entrant to evacuate the confined space if the attendant detects symptoms or behaviors of hazard exposure on the part of the entrant. This team is also responsible for contacting help for an evacuation and rescue if there is an emergency, something else that should be detailed in the permit space program. It's important to recognize that a confined space entry program is not a static document. Your company will regularly review and revise the program to ensure that it has been adapted to any changes in procedures or equipment. So you should make sure that you are familiar with the latest version. Confined spaces can present a number of hazards, some of which can be life-threatening. So when you have to work in them, it's important to know how to set yourself up for success, and that comes down to preparation. Let's review. A confined space is an area that has limited or restricted means of entry or exit, such as a tank, vessel, or vat. There are 4 types of hazards associated with confined spaces: hazardous atmospheres, asphyxiation, engulfment or crushing by materials, and other general health and safety risks. Anyone who enters a confined space needs to wear a body harness attached to a lifeline so they can be extracted quickly in an emergency. When there are hazards present in a confined space, entrants need an entry permit to go into it. An entry permit identifies the location and nature of a confined space, the reason for the entry, and the date and authorized duration of the entry. Your facility must have a permit-required confined space program in place that sets out the safe work practices and procedures that entrants, attendants, and entry supervisors need to follow. As we've seen, working in a confined space can be difficult, but with the right permit-required confined space program and careful preparation, an entry can be completed successfully and safely. Take a look around the room you're sitting in. You probably have plenty of space to move around, an exit in sight, and easy paths to access anything you need. Now imagine the room shrinking, the exit narrowing, and obstructions in the pathways, and add potential for atmospheric and other physical hazards. This is what it can feel like if you have to enter a confined space, such as a manhole, tank, or a tunnel. But confined space entry jobs don't have to lead to trouble. You and your team can learn how to avoid the hazards associated with these spaces. In this course, we'll discuss how an entry team can test a confined space for hazards and work in a space safely.